Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Ram Hare Krishna Krishna.
Hare Krishna devotees, please accept my humble obeisances. Almost Sri Prabhupada and Guru Maharaj. Yeah, Paramparmati, whenever you're ready, you can start, Mati. I'll share my screen.
Yes, Prabhuji. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskritya Naram Jaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayam Tirayit Nashtaprayeshu Apatreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavati Uttamas Loke Bhaktir Bhavati Nashtiki. Hare Krishna, dear devotees, please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. My voice is a little broken. Please pardon for that.
Yeah, are you comfortable reading, or your voice is paining when you read, Mati?
No, Prabhuji, it's okay. It's not paining, it's just broken. Only if that you can understand.
Yeah,
That
we can hear, okay.
Okay, Prabhuji.
Continue.
Chapter 22, the marriage of Kardama Muni and Devahuti. So I'm supposed to read from text 1 to 13. So text 1. Sri Maitreya said, after describing the greatness of the emperor's manifold qualities and activities, the sage became silent, and the emperor, feeling modesty, addressed his as follows. Text 2. Manu replied, to expand himself in Vedic knowledge, Lord Brahma, the personified Veda, from his face created you, the Brahmanas, who are full of austerity, knowledge, and mystic power, and are averse to sense gratification. Text 3. For the protection of the Brahmanas, the 1,000-legged Supreme Being created us, the Kshatriyas, from his 1,000 arms. Hence, the Brahmanas are said to be his head, and the Kshatriyas are his arms. Text 4. That is why the Brahmanas and Kshatriyas protect each other as well as themselves. And the Lord himself, who is both the cause and effect and yet immutable, protects them through each other. Text 5. Now I have resolved all my doubts simply by meeting you, for your lordship has very kindly and clearly explained the duty of a king who desires to protect his subjects. Text 6. It is my good fortune that I have been able to see you, for you cannot easily be seen by persons who have not subdued the mind or controlled the senses. I am all the more fortunate to have touched with my head the blessed dust of your feet. Text 7. I have fortunately been instructed by you, and thus great favor has been bestowed upon me. I thank God that I have listened with open ears to your pure words. Text 8. O great sage, graciously be pleased to listen to the prayers of my humble self, for my mind is troubled by affection for my daughter. Text 9. My daughter is the sister of Priyavrata and Uttanapada. She is Uttanapad. She is seeking a suitable husband in terms of age, character, and good qualities. Text 10. The moment she heard from the sage Narada of your noble character, learning beautiful the moment she heard from the sage Narada of your noble character, learning, beautiful appearance, youth, and other virtues, she fixed her mind upon you. Text 11. Therefore, please accept her, O chief of the Brahmanas, for I offer her with faith, and she is in every respect fit to be your wife and take charge of your household duties. Text of 12. To deny an offering that has become itself is not commendable even for one absolutely free from all attachment, much less one addicted to sensual pleasure. Text 13. One who rejects an offering does come of its own accord, but later begs a boon from a miser, thus loses his widespread reputation, and his pride is humbled by the neglectful behavior of others. Hare Krishna, Prabhuji and dear devotees, please pardon for my broken voice and anything I spelled wrongly. Hare Krishna.
Yeah, thank you so much, Paramparmati, for reading the translations today. Yeah, it's a very wonderful section, first 13 verses of this chapter today. We'll briefly go over the context and go over the wonderful lessons we can learn from this section. So, overall context was, we know, Kardamuni, having been given by service from his father, Lord Brahma, to beget progeny, to beget children, to populate the universe with children. So, he did austerities and devotion service for 10,000 years, pleasing Supreme Lord himself. Supreme Lord personally came and he gave the benedictions that you'll get 9 daughters, and I will personally come as an expansion to you as your son, and I'll teach Sankhya Yoga to your wife Devahuti, like that he mentioned, Supreme Lord. And then he told that in 2 days, Swayambhu will come with his daughter. She is a suitable wife for you. And then, as he said, in 2 days, Swayambhu Manu, the emperor of the universe at that time, came and along with his wife Satrupa and daughter Devahuti. And in the last chapter, what we heard was how when the emperor came, he offered obeisances to Kardamuni, because Kshatriya offers obeisance to Brahmana like that. But then Brahmana was not proud. Kardamuni personally received him nicely and honored him with sweet words and glorifying him and glorifying the duties that as a king is doing nicely. So that is the last section we heard in the last chapter, where Kardamuni glorified Swambhamuni and received him and telling how he is executing his duties nicely as a representative of the Supreme Lord, like that. And that's the section we heard about how the cooperation between Brahmanas and Kshatriyas is so wonderful for human society and is pleasing to Supreme Lord also. That section, that theme will continue in the first few verses now. We'll see that. So basically, the three, four broad themes today for this section. One is about the mutual cooperation between the different classes of society, with example of Brahmanas and Kshatriyas. How it is pleasing to Supreme Lord, how Supreme Lord protects such people when they have mutual cooperation between each other like that. That is the first theme today. Another theme is about how Sadhu Sangha, association of pure devotees, association of spiritual master, service to spiritual master is so valuable and essential for spiritual perfection. That's the second theme. Association of spiritual master, hearing from him and rendering service to him. How it helps in, how it is essential in spiritual perfection like that. The third theme is about a grihastha life. How, what is the purpose of grihastha life? How wife and husband are meant to cooperate with each other and take care of household duties in such a way that the family is growing towards spiritual perfection, elevating towards spiritual perfection. The third theme, and towards that theme, also there's an instruction that how responsible father takes care of marriage of his daughter personally. Okay, so the broad themes will go to the details now, verse by verse. Let me share my screen again. So here in this section, remember overall third canto and fourth canto is the discussion between Maitreya Muni and Vidura. That's why this verse is saying Maitreya Muni said. What did he say? After describing, glorifying Swayambhu Manu, after the Kadamuni, the sage glorified Swayambhu Manu, and he became silent. Remember the last verse of the last chapter? He was asking, essentially, I know people come, you must have come with some purpose to my ashram. Please tell me, whatever it is, I'll take care of it like that. I'll do my best like that. So that's what he asked in the last verse. So after that, after asking why did you come like that in polite way, he stopped. He became silent is described. And then once he became silent, Emperor Swayambhu Manu, he felt modesty and started to speak. That means when Kardamuni glorified him, oh, you are such a nice king, you take care of Praja so nicely, all that he said, right? The king is not getting puffed up. Oh, yes, that is true, that is true. Actually, you need to glorify more, not like that. He felt modest, he felt humble in a sense that actually you are great like that. That is a heart of a devotee that we can also cultivate. That always we should find appreciation in other devotees in our heart. When we find appreciation in all the other devotees we interact with, even if we don't express, even if we don't have opportunity to express directly, expressing is even great, but even if you don't get an opportunity to express, if we cultivate that appreciation for other devotees we're meeting in our life every day, then we can always be in grateful mood and mood of looking up to them, mood of looking, appreciating their qualities more than thinking, oh, you know what? I have this great quality. You know, I do this great service. You know, I have this wonderful quality. You know, everybody loves me for this. Instead of meditating on our own greatness, we should appreciate on others' good qualities. Then we can remain in humble and modest position always. That is one lesson from text 1. Going to text 2. So here, Swayambhu Manu is speaking now to Kardamani. Because Kardamani glorified until now, right? Now Swayambhu Manu is responding as a conversation. He's saying, actually, Brahmanas are created by Lord Brahma from his face. So, who are, and what are the qualities of such Brahmanas? Austerity, tapa, knowledge, jnana, or vidya, and mystic power, yoga. So these are the qualities of Brahmana, I say. So he created Brahmanas from the face and with the great qualities like austerity, knowledge, and mystic power. And those Brahmanas are averse to sense gratification, that they don't like to engage themselves in sense gratification. Why? Because Brahmanas are situated in a higher knowledge. because they're situated in higher knowledge, they know what is what. That means what is the end result of sense gratification. It will give temporary pleasure, but it is harmful for our spiritual progress. They know that very clearly. That is why they are averse to sense gratification. And then they're eager to cultivate knowledge and austerity for the purpose of spiritual realization, because they understand there's a higher purpose of life, and that will come when we are in austere mode. Then it is easy to acquire to cultivate spiritual realization instead of thinking how I'm going to enjoy, how I'm going to enjoy. Then it's difficult to practice spiritual life. So there's a point here being made in the purport. Prabhupada makes three main points. One of them is saying that so here, see, to expand himself in Vedic knowledge, this is what Prabhupada is explaining the purport. That the purpose of Vedas is to propagate the transcendental knowledge of Supreme Lord, so that we can glorify Supreme Lord like that. So similarly, that is why we hear commonly how the Vedic knowledge is preserved is not by keeping it closed in a shelf, locked up in a shelf, locked up in a locker. That's not the way we preserve the Vedic knowledge. The Vedic knowledge is preserved by propagating it, by sharing with more and more people like that. So in fact, unlike other material resources like wealth or some food that we might have, if you share with others, the wealth will reduce, the food we have will reduce, stock will reduce, right? But the Vedic knowledge, the more we share the knowledge that we have with others, whatever we learn from scriptures and Guru and Sadhu, we share with others, actually our realization will increase, our knowledge will increase. It's the opposite phenomena, number one. Number two, the more Vedic knowledge is propagated, the scriptures are propagated, like in this month, we're trying our best to propagate Bhagavad Gita to all people, right? The more we give it to others, the more it will stay in somebody's home for longer time, and the more it will be used by someone to read at some point of time like that. Because there are so many stories we hear, real life stories, that somebody took a Bhagavad Gita 50 years ago, and their son or grandson reads it, and they became a devotee. Like that, that's how the Vedic knowledge is propagated. That's the first point Prabhupada is making. And the purpose of propagation is to glorify Supreme Lord, Absolute Truth, like that. Second point Prabhupada is making is that there are two kinds of occupations people are engaged in at a very broad level speaking. One is to how to get sense gratification more and more. That is one kind of occupation. Second occupation is how do we satisfy the Supreme Lord by glorifying Him. That means by kirtana. The kirtana can be in different forms. Yeah. So that's the second point Prabhupada is making. Third point Prabhupada is making is about the qualities. How Brahmana is especially meant to cultivate austerity and knowledge. And we all know, Prabhupada used to say, by practicing devotional life, we're cultivating mode of goodness, we're cultivating Brahmanical qualities. So that's why these things are important for us. Prabhupada is making a point there that austerity, learning and knowledge, and being averse to sense gratification are important qualities of a Brahmana. And in fact, austerity is the wealth of Brahmana. That's another statement we hear commonly. So, as we advance in spiritual life, as we advance in mode of goodness, we can see, are we interested in austerity? Are we really averse to austerity? Are we interested in too much sense gratification? Are we really getting a little bit aversion to sense gratification like that? And that's a way of assessing ourselves also, our spiritual growth also. Of course, austerity in itself is not the essence of devotion service. If that becomes the whole essence of devotion service we are practicing, then we're not practicing Bhakti Yoga. We're practicing Jnana path, because they are only interested in austerity. But our path, we're interested in positively cultivating attachment towards the Supreme Lord Krishna. And to help to that effect, we're utilizing these other things, austerity, knowledge, we're cultivating also. So, in order to please Krishna, but the primary objective is to please Krishna, to serve Krishna. That's about the second verse. Going to the third verse, so he described So I want to describe how Brahmanas are created from the face of Brahmana. Actually, Prabhupada writes that they're coming from the universal form, like that Prabhupada writes later in the purport. How from the universal form of the Lord, from the face come Brahmana, and uh, from the feet come Shudras, like that. From the arms come Kshatriyas, like that. Prabhupada explains in next coming up purport, actually, in the third purport. In this, what is describing this in next verse is that actually you glorified me, that we came to protect you, we Kshatriyas are there to protect you and all the citizens. Actually, Supreme Lord is arranging all this. He arranged in such a way that he created us Brahmana, as Kshatriyas to give protection to Brahmanas. And he created you Brahmanas to give Kshatriya protection to Kshatriyas. It's a mutual protection arranged by Supreme Lord himself, like that is saying. And Brahmanas are like the heart of the Supreme Lord, and Kshatriyas are like the arms of the Supreme Lord, like that is saying. So by this statement, Prabhupada explains further in the purport that Kshatriyas may be the whole body, like the body, but Brahmanas are like the heart, which is the vital organ. Even the whole body is important, heart is considered the very vital organ, like that. That's what Prabhupada is writing in the purport. So now, in the previous chapter, we already learned this point, how they're offering protection to each other. So, how are the Brahmanas offering protection? Brahmanas offering protection to citizens through the leader, king. Basically, by giving the instructions from scriptures, by sharing with them, they helping Kshatriyas to rule the kingdom properly. So all the citizens' spiritual welfare is taken care. That means how citizens can be elevated spiritually. That is the knowledge they're imparting, knowledge and guidance they're giving it to Kshatriyas, especially the king. That is the Brahmana's role. That's how Brahmanas are protecting the Kshatriyas. Now, how are Kshatriyas protecting Brahmanas? We heard already in the previous chapter that they're making sure that Brahmanas can cultivate their spiritual realization nicely. That means they have all the necessary facilities to practice their spiritual life nicely. Not that this guy disturbs, that guy disturbs, like that. They have the ability to practice spiritual life nicely. That means they don't have to go, how can I get money from here? How can I get money from here? They don't have to be anxiety to feed themselves, to take care of their family, like that. So rulers were meant to give protection to Brahmanas and rest of the citizens so that they can elevate in practicing spiritual relation by taking guidance from Brahmanas, like that. That's how they are protecting each other. So Prabhupada writes in the purport, the pranam mantra we recite from Krishna, Namo Brahmane Devaya, Go Brahman Hitaya Cha, Jagatitaya Krishnaya, Govindaya Namo Namaha. Prabhupada emphasizing Go Brahman Hitaya Cha in the purport, where Krishna is especially inclined towards welfare of Brahmanas and cows. So we need to also protect the Brahminical and cow culture. Cow protection is important, are the basic principles of human civilization, Prabhupada writes in the purport. So that is about the second verse. Basically, these two verses is saying Brahmanas came from face of the Supreme Lord, and we came from the arms of the Supreme Lord, and we're meant to give protection to each other, like that. So far, he told. Now that theme is continuing to the next verse. He's saying Brahmanas and Kshatriyas protect each other as well as themselves, and the Lord Himself is the cause and effect, and yet is immutable. So basically, Supreme Lord is the one who's creating Brahmanas and Kshatriyas. Supreme Lord is so amazing that he doesn't have to actually physically do the protection, offering protection. He just makes sure Brahmanas are created, so they protect Kshatriyas. Kshatriyas are created, so they protect Brahmanas. Like that. That is the point Prabhupada is explaining the purport. That that's one point. And another point Prabhupada is making the purport is that uh, there is, even though Supreme Lord is creating all these through his energies, Supreme Lord is still independent and separately existing also. And it's not that he is divided among everybody and is lost, not like that. And is not the same as spirit soul also, individual spirit soul also. He is separate from the spirit soul and is independent Supreme Lord also. That's the other point Prabhupada is making in the purport. So another emphasis that's already explained in the last chapter also, is that when there's complete cooperation between different spirit souls, different people, then Supreme Lord as Paramatma is pleased and gives them all protection. So essential lesson from this theme we are learning here is Supreme Lord is very pleased when we all protect, when we all cooperate with each other and take care of our individual duties nicely. Instead of trying to do, I try to do their service, they try to do my service. So we all individually do our services nicely, and then through that cooperation, Supreme Lord is very pleased and he offers us full protection like that. That's the overall theme from these verses now. Now going to the next theme from text 5. Text 5 says, is actually for next few verses, 5 to 7, 8, are talking about the principle of sadhu sangha, how pure devotee association, how association with the spiritual master, service to spiritual master, hearing from spiritual master is so wonderful and helpful and essential for spiritual perfection. That is the theme for the next few verses. He's saying, now I resolved, all my doubts are gone by meeting you because you very kindly and clearly explained the duties of a king that I need to follow. So, and I was eager to protect my citizens by your knowledge that you gave, by instructions you gave. Now all my doubts are clear. What exactly I need to do is clear, like that is describing. In this purport, Prabhupada is emphasizing on the principle of sadhu sangha. That means is quoting Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, how even the moment's association, short-term association with sadhu can help us to progress, to help us to liberate from this material world like that, to help us from this material bondage. Because we might be doing this thing, that thing, that thing, that thing, so many things. But the most powerful ingredient in our bhakti is to associate from pure devotees like spiritual master. So, and when we hear from instructions from them, and when we faithfully and sincerely execute those instructions, we can achieve spiritual perfection. So that's the theme for this section. Prabhupada is quoting how entire human life mission is completed by the association of a sadhu. And he personally quotes about his personal example, how when he went to the association of Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur, even in his first meeting, Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur gave an instruction that you should go to western part of life and teach these Lord Chaitanya's instructions in English, like that. So and through that his life became perfect. Prabhupada is writing in the purport like that. So we should always, Prabhupada is writing, should always try to associate with saintly persons and try to not associate with or dissociate with other non-devotees or common people like that. So because saintly person has the capacity to liberate us from material entanglement. That's the main lesson Prabhupada is giving in this verse and purport. Going to the next verse, text number 6. He's saying, it is my good fortune that I've been able to see you. And for you cannot easily be seen by persons who have not subdued mind and controls. That means for common people, even to get the darshan of great people, to get association of saintly persons is very, very difficult. So he's feeling himself fortunate and grateful for the opportunity to see him and get his association, to hear from him like that. And then he's also feeling fortunate that he was able to get the dust of lotus feet of the saintly person. In this case, Kardam Muni, like that. So it's not that, oh, look at me, I'm a great king. I'm doing a favor by coming to you and listening to you. I'm just setting an example by listening from you. He's not thinking like that. He's thinking, it's his great fortune to get in the association of great saintly person like this. And that's a true statement because it's not ordinary to receive the association of saintly person. So whenever, that's why we need to eagerly anchor for saintly association, whether through oral reception, that becomes clear in one of the purports also, Prabhupada says, or personal association also. So we should be eager to have that association and take advantage of it whenever we get an opportunity. So in the purport, Prabhupada gives an example of King Rahugana and Jadabharata. That will come, that pastime will come up in 5th canto of Srimad Bhagavatam, where there was a king who understood by the speaking of Bharata, who was looking externally like a dull person, dumb, and deaf, but the moment he spoke something, he understood the elevated nature of the spirituality of Bharata Maharaj, and he was happy to take his association. That's what Prabhupada is writing in the purport. And then another interesting thing Prabhupada is writing is common men are unable to control senses and mind. And if they take shelter of a spiritual master, great souls, sadhus, then their life can become perfect when they hear the instructions and faithfully and sincerely follow the instructions of a spiritual master. So that is the secret of spiritual life perfection, basically, Prabhupada is writing. Going to 7th verse, he's saying, I'm very fortunate to hear instructions also, not just seeing you, but I became fortunate to hear instructions from you, like that is saying. And you gave a great favor to that. And I'm thankful to God that I listened with open ears. So, so when we get into association of a great saintly person or a spiritual master, we must be eager to hear the instructions from them. And the best way of associating with spiritual master and the best way we get the favor of the spiritual master is through the ears, Prabhupada writing in the purport. That means we should be eager to hear instructions and faithfully follow those instructions also. Yeah. And in the last of the purport, Prabhupada is quoting the Vishwanath Thakur commentary on Bhagavata verse that has Vyavasatmika Buddhi, that we should be very careful to receive the instruction from spiritual master and follow it. That's how we can be perfect in spiritual life, like that. And then now, having explained that how Brahmanas and Kshatriyas are meant to protect each other by the mercy of Krishna, and then having explained, having recognized the great fortune he got by hearing from the spiritual master, in this case it's Kardamuni, now is going to offer a prayer or offer a request to marry his daughter Devahuti in marriage. That is what is next section basically. So he's saying, please listen to my prayer because I'm very much affected by my affection for my daughter, is saying. So let me see if text here, right? Yeah. So Prabhupada writes one important point here. It's very important to note this. Why? Because we should not have entitlement tendency with our spiritual master. So we cannot ask spiritual master and superior, can you do this for me? Can you do this for me? Always in the mood, what can I get from my spiritual master? What can I get from my spiritual master? That should not be the right mood. Prabhupada is emphasizing the purport. What should be the right mood is, how can I serve the spiritual master? How can I follow the instructions of spiritual master? That should be the mood most of the time for us. And when an opportunity comes that we need something from spiritual master, then it becomes a when we have satisfied the spiritual master sufficiently with our service, then it becomes like that's a normal protocol to you can ask some benediction from spiritual master, like that Prabhupada writing in purport. Of course, it doesn't mean that when we're struggling with through something in our spiritual life, we said, no, I'm ready to satisfy my spiritual master yet. I will not ask my doubt, my help from my spiritual master, not like that. But the general protocol is we're not entitled to get anything from spiritual master until we satisfy him fully, like that. Prabhupada is writing the point. So we don't have a right to ask a favor from spiritual master until we satisfy him fully. So when we're situated in that mode, then we're not thinking, why is my spiritual master not giving me this? Why is my spiritual master not giving me that? We're not in that mode. We're thinking about how can I satisfy my spiritual master? That is the mode we're carrying. Going to the next verse, 9th verse. Now he's explaining one by one what are the reasons why he should marry his daughter Devahuti. First reason he's describing is she's not just a ordinary girl. She's a not only his own daughter, but she's a sister of great devotees like Priyavrata and Uttanapada. Not only they're great devotees, they're the emperors themselves. They're great kings and who has established great things. We'll hear that in the later cantos. In 4th canto, we'll hear how Uttanapada had a son of Dhruva and how he achieved perfection, how Priyavrata achieved perfection in his life, how he listened to his spiritual master, how Priyavrata created 7 oceans, 7 islands in the world by just going through chariot, how he produced like a daylight in the night time, all those glorious things we'll hear. So he's telling she's such a sister of a glorious brothers also like that. And so she's saying she's seeking suitable husband in terms of age, character, and good qualities. So, Prabhupada writes a couple of points in this purport. One is that, one main point is that Swayambhu being a responsible father, he took the responsibility of finding a suitable husband for her. That is one important point. That's a lesson for us that we need to be cognizant of our duty to find a suitable for husband for our daughters. And then he says the daughter herself did not go looking for husband everywhere. Why? Because she knew her father will take care. That's the other point Prabhupada is making the purport. Go into the text 10. He's saying, how did she develop attraction for you? Because she heard from authority like Narada Muni about your noble character, learning, beautiful appearance, youth, and different virtues like that. That's why she fixed her mind on you, like that he's telling. So Prabhupada writes in the purport that hearing from an authority or Shabda Pramana is better experience than gaining personal understanding like that. So similarly, we should understand Shabda Pramana, hearing from authorities is the best source of knowledge like that. So, and that's why she expressed her desire to father, and that's why father brought her to ashram of Kardamani is describing Prabhupada. Going to text 11. So now he's saying, oh, please, that's why please accept her. Why? Because she's coming from great heritage and she attracted to, she herself has good qualities and she's attracted to you by hearing from Narada Muni. So with faith, I'm offering her to you and she will take care of in every respect. She will be fit for a qualified wife for you. And you will take charge of your household duties. Prabhupada is writing wonderful things in this purport. What is that household duties she will take care? Not washing vessels, cooking, not cleaning the home. That is not the essence of the household duties. Prabhupada writes in the purport that husband's duty as a head of the family is to help the family to grow spiritually in the spiritual consciousness. And the wife's duty is to help husband in achieving that goal. That means wife and husband work together so that family can together practice spiritual life, together grow in spiritual life, help children in growing spiritual life. That is what is being talked about as a grihastha. Otherwise, if husband thinks my wife is there for my sense enjoyment, my wife is there to help me to be comfortable and luxuriously live life, just be happy and peaceful, so I don't need to do anything, then that is not the right understanding Prabhupada is telling. Right understanding is husband and wife together are working to practice spiritual life nicely and grow the spiritual consciousness of the family members nicely. So they all achieve perfection like that. Another point is that if wife and husband are equal in age, character, and quality, then they both can cooperate with each other nicely and stay together nicely and practice spiritual life. That's the other point Prabhupada is writing. And the last point Prabhupada is making here is that it is the duty of the wife to take charge of household affairs and not to compete with the husband. That's also an important principle for a wife to learn. That generally in this age, the general principle is, oh, women are equal to men. So we have equal rights. We do everything equally. You do that, I also do this. Why do I need to do this? You also need to do this. So instead of looking at external equality in terms of doing things, but if both of them, husband and wife, support each other without competing with each other, support each other to practice spiritual life together, that will be the nice marriage life. That's the point Prabhupada is making the purport. Going to the 12th verse. Now he's saying, I personally came to you to offer my daughter to you. So when something is coming freely without even struggling to find it, you should easily accept it. That's what he's saying here. Meaning, actually, the purport Prabhupada is writing, actually, I know that you wanted a suitable wife. Now I'm bringing a suitable wife to you. So please accept it. Don't reject it like that, is saying this. And the last verse for today, text 20. He's saying, if you reject my offering, but because you really want to marry, then later on you need to beg somebody else, can you please give me your daughter in marriage? That's not a good, wise proposal, wise thought, wise behavior like that. Because they might say, no, I will not give my daughter to you. Then your pride will get destroyed. Then you cannot face you properly. So instead of that, when the right offer came to you, you accept. Like that, you're saying, I brought a suitable wife for you, and you were in need of a suitable wife. So instead of asking somebody else later on, you accept my daughter as your wife. So that is the point he's making. So Prabhupada is making another important point, that when giving daughter in marriage to a husband, so the important point is not how much money he has, how big a job he has. That's not the biggest point. Biggest point is how much culture he has, how much good qualities he has. Those are the important things to consider. Prabhupada is writing in the purport for marriage. We'll pause here. We'll continue tomorrow. The beautiful section. How will Kardamani respond to the request of Swayambhu Manu for taking his daughter Devhuti in marriage? We'll find out. So today we'll learn about how it's important to have mutual cooperation and respect between each other by doing our services, so that Supreme Lord is pleased and protect us. And then we learned about the importance of Sadhu Sangha, especially spiritual master, hearing from him and faithfully following instructions and serving him to satisfy him. And then we heard about importance of Grihastha Ashrama, how wife and husband should cooperatively work with each other to take care of the duties, to grow spiritually as a family. And then we heard about the duty of a father also, how we should take care of spiritual elevation and take care of the responsibility of taking care of daughter's marriage also. Yeah, we'll pause here. Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Vanchakalpatarubhyascha Kupasindubhyevacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha. Thank you so much, devotees. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna. Thank you very much, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
Thank you. Hare Krishna.
Krishna. Thank you.